More than 100 academics, historians and journalists have signed a declaration handed to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, warning that social networks, government officials and NGOs are attempting to label legitimate views as disinformation. This follows revelations that a secretive government unit was working with intelligence agencies to monitor online posts criticising lockdown during the COVID pandemic. Well, joining me right now is Bryn Harris. He's Chief Legal Counsel at the Free Speech Union. Good afternoon to you, Bryn.
Hi, Julia. Good to
Thanks
see
for joining us. Well, I mean, I've got a special interest in this as one of the signatories of this letter to Rishi Sunak, but also one of the journalists who was, I still find quite bizarre, monitored online. Yes, tweets that were in the public domain, but even some that were jokes that were flagged as misinformation, disinformation by two different government units. Had some more information recently, which I think we're going to talk about on air next week, about what they did with this information. And I've got to be honest with you, it's pretty darn sinister. The people who've signed this letter are from a whole variety of different backgrounds and views. I mean, you've got the author Jordan Peterson, you've got Julian Assange from WikiLeaks, you've got John Cleese, you've got Richard Dawkins, the historian Robert Toombs, the American whistleblower Edward Snowden, Toby Young, of course, the Free Speech Union, for which you represent. I'm also a member, and many others who were involved with, say, exposing what was going on between social media companies like Twitter and after Elon Musk bought it, what was really going on in terms of that. So tell us how this is being done, first of all.
Well, I mean, in terms of the monitoring of disinformation, it tends to be, as far as I know, sort of left to really somewhat unaccountable bodies and people. I think we all know that Elon Musk's Twitter has created this new community notes system, which I think is a very good move in the right direction. It says that we essentially should sort of crowdsource our judgment of whether a news source is true or false. The alternative, which I think is much more problematic, is that social media companies may overly rely on those who are sort of self-appointed arbiters of what's true and what's false. And that obviously involves organizations really taking upon themselves a power that really shouldn't exist in a liberal democracy.
Well, as you say, crucially, they are completely unaccountable. Unelected, unaccountable people, even the fact checkers. We have these sort of fact checkers at the BBC or other fact check groups. I mean, I know one person who has been involved in fact checking me, who's a member of Extinction Rebellion. Well, I mean, do you think he's coming from a neutral stance, I wonder? I mean, and this is the thing, and what people choose to fact check. Whenever the BBC's got in touch with me with their fact checky people, I've always said, OK, over COVID, why have you not fact-checked this statement from this person? Why are you fact-checking what little old me is saying, but not what the government advisors are saying? And this is the thing, isn't it? It's just got to be this idea, this norm that somehow, if someone has written something that, I don't know, whoever decides they don't like, often just the social media companies, often, as we now know, in cahoots with the US government, the British government and other governments, as those exposés of what was going on behind the scenes at Twitter before Elon Musk purchased it, that they can just censor it. Whereas what my view, and I'm sure your view would be, and people watching and listening to this show, I hope would be, if it's a bad idea, if it's untrue, we can challenge it online. We can point out, no, the evidence doesn't back you up. This is a wrong claim. This is why that's wrong. We can challenge those ideas. I'm not threatened by anyone posting something untrue or unverifiable because I can challenge it.